Are you a struggling chiropractor trying to build your practice? Are you an ambitious chiropractor looking to grow your practice above and beyond industry norms? When it comes to marketing, if you've got questions, he's got answers. If you've got problems, he's got solutions. He is Rossi Eason, the founder of the Chiropractic Marketing Bureau and author of the Secrets of Superstar Chiropractors book. Now here is the man himself, Rossi Eason.
Hi, this is Rossi Eason, the founder of the Chiropractic Marketing Bureau and author of the Secrets of Superstar Chiropractors book. And I want to thank you for watching my 7 Secrets of Superstar Chiropractors video presentation. In this presentation, I'm going to show you how to uncover hidden marketing assets in your practice that will propel you to the top 1% of the chiropractic industry, all without spending a dime on advertising. But first, I want to talk a little bit about who am I. For those of you that don't know my story, I was introduced to chiropractic years ago after my brother suffered a near-fatal car accident that almost took his life. However, thanks to chiropractic care, he was able to make a full recovery without the use of drugs or surgery. Now, fast forward years down the road, I was actually mentored by one of the most successful chiropractors in the country. As a matter of fact, this man right here, Dr. Stephen Barnett, he was the one that actually encouraged me to take my marketing skills, gifts, and talents to the chiropractic industry. Since then, I've gone on to found the Chiropractic Marketing Bureau, which is a platform that showcases the best of the best in the chiropractic industry. And, as I mentioned earlier, I also went on to author the Secrets of Superstar Chiropractors book, which is this book right here that you see before you, which is simply a collection of interviews from the most successful chiropractors in North America on everything that they did to become successful. Now, during the process in creating this book, I found that there was something very interesting. I found that chiropractors in the top 1% did things very differently than the other chiropractors in the 99%. As a matter of fact, I found that there were about 7 commonalities that the superstars did that average chiropractors didn't. So I'm going to talk about what those 7 secrets or 7 commonalities are. The first secret of superstar chiropractors is that they have a uniquely defined position in the marketplace, or better known as a unique selling proposition, or a USP for short. As you already know, there's no shortage of chiropractors no matter what city you're in. I mean, I don't think that there is a shopping center that you can go to that you cannot find a chiropractic office. Therefore, the need to uniquely define your position in the marketplace is essential if you want to have super success. Every superstar chiropractor that I know has a very strong unique selling proposition that clearly defines why and how they are different, and also gives a good and strong valid reason why a patient should come to their practice and receive treatment from them. Okay, what I've sort of noticed is that a lot of chiropractors sort of market their practice by, posting their prices in the window or what kind of insurance they accept. They sort of market their practice the way, I guess, a convenience store markets the beer of the day. Why? It's because they don't have a unique selling proposition. Therefore, they're viewed as a commodity, both by the public and by themselves. So therefore, they promote themselves as a commodity because they don't have anything unique to stand on. Okay? Now, customers, here's the reality of the situation. You are not the only person trying to get their attention. As a matter of fact, research has shown that the average person is bombarded with at least 3,000 marketing and advertising messages a day. 3,000. Okay, so you're not the only person, business, doctor, or organization trying to get their attention. So unless you have a way of uniquely defining who you are and why they should do business with you, you're going to be a commodity, you're going to be forced to haggle on price, and truth be told, you're probably going to struggle. I'll give you a perfect example of this. A client of mine, Dr. Jeffrey Solomon, actually runs a mobile chiropractic office where he actually goes around to different organizations in a fully outfitted RV. The RV is actually fully outfitted as a chiropractic office where he goes around to different organizations and actually performs treatment as a mobile chiropractor. So he is the only chiropractor that can go around and say, hey, I'm the only chiropractor that comes to you. Everybody else makes you go to them. Okay? That's a unique selling proposition. That's why he's in the top 1%. Okay? Now, next is a masterful internal sales system. Now, I want to be careful with this because I know sales is kind of a dirty word in chiropractic. But the truth is you are selling. You're selling people on receiving chiropractic treatment, and you're selling people on the idea that they should receive chiropractic treatment from you. Okay? But if you do not have a system for selling, you will be at the mercy of your prospective patient's system for not buying. Okay? So what I've noticed that successful chiropractors have is that a successful sales system is a major part of their internal operations. Where most doctors go wrong in this part of the process, they just tend to wing it. Okay, so therefore they're sort of operating by the seat of their pants and never really get the true value. Okay, you need to create a more systematic approach to selling your services to new patients. I'll give you an example. My friend Dr. Rob Alpert, who's also in the book, he actually has an entire video series that all of his new patients must watch before they ever meet him. This not only pre-sells them on chiropractic, but it also pre-sells them on him as a chiropractor. So he actually doesn't have to do any selling at all. Why? Because the system does the selling for him. So that's another difference between the super successful chiropractors versus the average chiropractor. Next, I find that superstar chiropractors put a high value on their patient list or database. See, the problem is most chiropractors run their practice only trying to get new patients. And while new patients is certainly important to the sustainability of any practice, it's sort of like the hamster on the treadmill theory. If you spend all of your time, energy, and money only getting new patients, you're going to burn yourself out. I mean, why work so hard to get all of these patients if you just ignore them once you get them? See, superstar chiropractors know that a database is much more than just a list of names and address. It's the most valuable asset that your practice has, okay? Now, your practice is only as valuable as your patients, as your database. Okay, I mean, after all, what is any business without its list of clients or customers? Okay, so the true asset of your practice is not the equipment or your x-ray machine or even your liquid capital. The real asset is the relationship with the patients. I'll give you an example. My friend, Dr. Greg Nielsen, actually has a physical patient newsletter that goes out every other month full of patient testimonials, patient profiles, local business profiles, new office promotions, and referral incentives. The majority of his new patients actually comes from referrals from his existing patients, largely thanks to his awesome newsletter. Okay? In many cases, his patients will actually move to another state but request to remain on his newsletter. Okay? Now, they may not be able to receive chiropractic care from him simply because they're no longer available, but guess what? They probably have family back home who can. But again, all of this is happening thanks to his newsletter. That's what I call putting a high value on your patient list or your database. Okay? Now, the next secret of superstar chiropractors is that they know how to leverage strategic alliances. See, building a large patient base can take time, especially if you're trying to do it all on your own. See, most doctors only think competitively. However, superstar chiropractors know that real leverage comes from thinking cooperatively about your marketing efforts. Okay? So, rather than always struggling to acquire new patients, you should spend a considerable amount of time finding and partnering with other businesses that are already currently selling to your prospective clientele. You want to find businesses that sell products or services that are comparable to yours but do not compete with what you sell. I'll give you another example of this. Dr. Lynn Schwartz, another doctor that I interviewed for the book. He actually built his entire practice simply from receiving referrals from medical doctors. I believe he had dozens of doctors actually sending him referrals over time. That's how you leverage strategic alliances, okay? That's why he's in the top 1%. All right? Now, the next secret of superstar chiropractors is that they know how to integrate both online and offline media. See, you want to start to blend in some of the online media integration throughout the use of different media channels such as social media, Google AdWords, and things like that as well. The key here is the integration. It's how to figure out how to bring people from the online world to the offline world, which is essentially your office, okay? That's the key, because I see a lot of chiropractic marketing, online marketing, teaches you a lot of little tricks and trades and things to do online, but very few people can actually show you how to make this work so that you're bringing patients in the office and not just spreading your name online. I give you an example. Dr. Matthew Luke, who's one of the doctors that I interviewed for my hiddenchirointerviews.com website, actually started to build his entire practice through the use of Facebook, okay? So he was one of the few people that actually figured out how to make the online media work to his advantage, okay? So again, it's all about media integration. Number 6, the sixth secret of superstar chiropractors is community and public relations marketing. See, superstar chiropractors understand that whatever someone else says about them is always going to be more powerful than whatever they can say about themselves. See, everyone expects you to say how great you are in your advertising. However, there's so much more credibility when you're giving a review from a non-biased third party or from an educational standpoint. Okay, so this is all about getting your name out there through the media, through continued press releases and public relations. I'll give you an example. Dr. Greg Nielsen, who I mentioned earlier, partners with his local fire department to make donations. So he will actually run an in-house promotion where he'll raise money for his local fire department. Okay, and he'll actually call up the fire chief and say, hey, I have a donation for you. The only thing that you have to do to get it is to come down here with the editor of the newspaper. So before you know it, there's the fire chief in his office with the editor of the newspaper, and there's Dr. Nielsen handing him a big check with his picture in the newspaper. That's publicity marketing, okay? That's how you start to grow your practice to the top 1%. And I'll tell you something, that type of marketing, you really can't even pay for, okay? Next is an intelligent use of direct mail. I found that superstar chiropractors know how to use direct mail as an effective form of marketing, okay? They understand that marketing and mailing to a cold list should only be executed if the in-house database and joint venture endorsements have been exhausted, okay? When executed properly, your direct mail should be sent to a very targeted list of what I like to call suspects who are most likely to be interested in your offer and raise their hand and become your prospects, and eventually at some point into an active patient. I mean, think about this. For the cost of a postage stamp, you can actually turn your mailman into your door-to-door salesman. Okay? Again, I like to use Dr. Greg Nielsen as an example, who in my opinion, is one of the best chiropractic marketers out there. Okay? And you look at what he's done as an example where he uses his newsletter. That's a form of direct mail. In his newsletter, he will actually run an ad which is about the size of a postcard, and he waits to get responses back from his patients, because if his existing patients don't respond to it, someone who doesn't know probably won't respond to it either. However, if they do, then he actually uses that as a postcard as a new patient acquisition tool. Okay, that's an intelligent use of direct mail. All right, so these are essentially the 7 secrets that superstar chiropractors in the top 1% employ that the other 99% don't. Now, I'm going to talk about how to use these 7 secrets to grow your practice and join the top 1%. Let me break this down. These commonalities really boil down to 2 things, present bank and future bank. Okay, now, present bank. Present bank is something that puts money in your account today, whereas future bank is something that puts money in your account tomorrow. So, for example, new patients is present bank that puts money in your account today. However, there are a lot of other things happening in your practice that you could do today that will also help you develop a more sustainable and predictable practice in the future. And I like to call those things marketing assets, okay? So when you look at asset marketing, you're combining present and future bank, okay? So in this presentation, we're going to talk about discovering some hidden assets that exist in your practice. We're going to talk about optimization on how to optimize those assets and also how to leverage them, okay? Later on, I'm also going to show you how to put these 7 secrets into a multi-pillar marketing system so that you can systematize your marketing process, okay? And then we'll talk about exponential growth and the fact that all of that should be performance-based. Now, let's talk about some of those marketing assets. Let's take a look at this. Past patients and clients. This is huge because I'm finding, again, that so many chiropractors want to go out there and simply market themselves to new patients, to people who have never heard of them, who don't trust them, who don't know who they are, when you actually have a list of patients who may have done business with you in the past but are not now. But those patients are some of the best to get, because reactivating those patients is the equivalent of basically getting new patients. The key there is that they already know you and trust you because they've done business with you in the past and hopefully have had a good experience. Okay, owner expertise. Maybe there's something different that you do. I'm finding that a lot of chiropractors are more than just what you consider to be, a normal chiropractor. A lot of them are personal trainers, dietitians, nutritionists, so on and so forth. That expertise can actually be leveraged, and we'll talk about that some more as well. Staff expertise. You may find that your staff has had a history. Maybe they worked somewhere interesting in their past, or they've done something interesting. That can also be leveraged, okay? Next is an underpromoted USP, or unique selling proposition. And truthfully, this probably should be no USP at all, okay? Because I'm finding that a lot of chiropractors, while they may have something unique, they don't necessarily promote it, okay? So it's an underpromoted USP. A lot of chiropractors are missing out on that. And again, if you don't have a reason why people should do business with you, you're going to struggle, okay? Unique treatment techniques or service or delivery. For example, one of my clients, Dr. Pruney, has actually developed his own chiropractic methodology, okay? Think about how awesome that is. So that's a unique treatment technique. Subpar sales performance, okay? How are your people answering the phone? Are they answering the phones? If you're running ads, if you're actually doing some marketing and you're running ads, how are these people actually converting? If they're calling you from your ad, are you collecting their information? Are you following up with them? Those sorts of things. Okay, number 7, again, relationships with other businesses. This is huge. This is absolutely huge. You may find that in your patient base, some of your patients might actually own businesses that you may be able to partner with them on. A lot of you probably never even thought about that. Okay, next is location. You may be in a very interesting location. I know a chiropractor that actually has an office right on top of a pain management center. That's a huge selling point. You may be next to a very popular restaurant that you can partner with. Okay, so that's a huge asset. All right, reputation. Reputation is huge, obviously, because every single thing that you do should be building up your reputation. I know a doctor who has a reputation for actually being one of the best doctors out there, okay? That's huge, and that's not coming from me. That's coming from his patients as well as other doctors in the community, okay? That's something that could be leveraged. Your current sales and marketing process, if one even exists at all. I'm finding that a lot of chiropractors aren't actually doing anything, however they could be. So let's take a look at your current sales and marketing process. If you are doing something, that's something that we can definitely improve on. And if you're not, that's something that we definitely need to start doing. Okay? Current patients and clients. How are you keeping up with them? Do you run an email newsletter? Do you run a physical newsletter? Do you call them? Do you send them greeting cards? Okay? For example, let's say you have an attrition rate of 10%. If we can reduce that from 10% to 5%, well, we just cut that down in half. That's the equivalent of getting 5% more patients, okay? Your prospective clients and patients. What about people who may have made some inquiries or called you on the phone? I mean, I call chiropractors all the time, and you know what? They never for once even try to find out who I am or even take down any of my information, okay? So if I'm a new patient or a person that's not a patient yet, and I'm looking to become one and I just want some more information, are you collecting that information? Okay, that's a huge asset. Upselling and packaging opportunities. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of chiropractors are more than just chiropractors. They're, weight loss experts, nutritionists, dietitians, personal trainers, or whatever category they fit in. That's an additional service that we can offer above and beyond what you would consider to be normal chiropractic care. Okay, again, looking at average patient value, that kind of goes with the one that we just spoke about before. And if we can actually add on some upsells and some other packaging opportunities, we can improve average patient value. And of course, community relationships is something that you should do, and you should definitely be active in the community. Now, optimizing and leveraging. Optimizing and leveraging is essentially getting the maximum return for the least amount of expense for the longest duration of time on everything you are currently doing now have done in the past, and will do in the future. Okay, and if you see this little guy here at the bottom of the screen with the word leverage, he's simply stepping very lightly on this little pole here that allows him to sort of move the world, if you will. Okay, that's leverage. Okay, it's being able to do a lot with the little, which is exactly what we're going to talk about. Now, most doctors will not survive the challenges of marketing because they're only using one or two pillars. What I'm finding is that most doctors say, well, I don't do any marketing because all of our marketing comes from word of mouth. Yeah, right. Word of mouth marketing for most people means I have no marketing plan, so instead of doing something, I'm going to sit on my butt and do nothing and hope that business arbitrarily comes my way. Okay, who are you kidding? All right? So most doctors rely on word of mouth marketing, which basically means sitting on their butt doing nothing. Okay, or maybe you're listed with some carrier listings and that's how you're getting business. But that's only two pillars. If one of those pillars goes away or both of them go away, how will you sustain yourself? Okay, do you want multiple pillars or you just want a few? Right? This is what most doctors' practice really looks like. They have no other pillars. It's just these two. Now, again, if those go away, you're going to have a problem. Now, in order for any practice to work, it must become a system so that the business works exactly the same way every time, down to the very last detail. And that's a quote that comes from Dr. Frank Stavinsky, another one of these superstar chiropractors that I interviewed for my Secrets of Superstar Chiropractors book, who also co-authored the E-Myth Chiropractor, which for those of you who don't know, the E-Myth was something, a concept created by Michael Gerber on how to develop business systems. So this man's an absolute expert at how to develop business systems. Okay, so again, it's about the system, which I like to think of system as an acronym. Save yourself time, energy, and money. Okay, and that's exactly what we're trying to do here. Now, if you really break this down, there's three ways to exponential growth. There's number one, which is more prospects, which, by the way, is what 99% of all chiropractic marketing teaches you. Simply how to get more prospects. Okay? However, the other two ways that no one talks about is how to increase the conversion rate of prospects to patients. Okay? So if you have 10 patients in your office that walk into your office and 2 of them actually become patients, if we can turn those 2 into 4, we just doubled your practice. Very simple, right? A very simple concept. And how much did it cost you to do that? Nothing. So it's all additional profit. Now, conversion rate can also be the number of people that respond to your marketing and advertising. So if you were running an ad or were sending out some letters or doing some marketing, the amount of people who may call into your office or amount of people who may respond to your marketing, that's also conversion rate. The problem that I'm having with most chiropractors is they aren't doing any marketing whatsoever, so there's nothing to improve the conversion rate of. And if you're laughing when I said this, you are probably the one that I'm talking to. That's right, you watching this video, if you're laughing when I said that, you're the one who I'm talking to, okay? But increasing the conversion rate of your prospects to patients is a fabulous way of actually improving what you're doing. Next is increase the value of a patient. Again, we want to increase the average transaction value. Again, don't just offer them chiropractic care. If you're a weight loss expert, if you understand nutrition and dietitian programs, let's develop some programs that you can offer them so that some of those people will want to take advantage of those other services that you offer as well. And again, increase the number of transactions, which that will sort of happen as well if you're enrolling people in other programs, because that allows them to come back over and over, especially if you are a big fan of the membership concept, which I am. Okay, now let's break this down into numbers. Let's say let's say we're looking for a growth objective of 20%. Okay, and let's just say, excuse me, we have 200 prospects. Okay, we have a closing rate of 20%, which gives us 40 new patients. Okay, and the average patient value, let's say I'm finding that the average patient value of chiropractic is about $2,000 a year for a good patient, so we'll just use that as an example. It gives you gross sales of $80,000. Now, let's say that we improve the number of prospects to 240. We still close them at 20%, which gives us 48 new patients and an average patient value of $2,000. That's $96,000. Okay? Now let's take the other scenario. Let's say the number of prospects stays the same. Let's say it remained at 200, but we improved the closing ratio by 20%, giving us a 24% closing ratio, which also gives us 48 patients at $2,000. That gives you $96,000 in gross sales as well. Now, let's say the number of prospects stayed the same at 200, closing ratio stayed the same at 20. Let's say that our number of patients remained at 40, but let's say we bumped our average patient value up to $2,400. That would also give us $96,000. Now, let's say that we improved in each area. Let's say we went from 200 prospects to 240. We went from a closing ratio of 20% to 24%. We went from having 40 patients to 57.6, and we went from an average patient value of $2,000 to $2,400. That's $138,000. Excuse me, $138,240. Okay, that's an actual growth of 72.8% or 73%. Do you see how growing your practice in 3 ways instead of just one way actually helps you to achieve exponential growth? You see, we grew here, which ultimately grew this amount, and then we also grew this amount as well, and that gives you exponential growth. That's how you join the top 1%, because small improvements in each area will give you dramatic growth overall. Now, performance-based marketing. Every single thing that you do in your marketing should be performance-based, okay? Now, performance is maximized only when all marketing assets are leveraged into a multi-pillar system, growing your practice all 3 ways. And again, we just discussed on how to grow your practice 3 ways. Now, I'm also going to show you how to take those 7 secrets that we discussed earlier and develop a multi-pillar marketing system that you can use to implement this into your practice to grow and take your practice to the next level. Okay, now there's no better investment than your marketing. Okay, marketing, innovation make money. Excuse me, everything else is a cost. So your x-ray machine, your office, the lease on your building, all of that stuff, none of that stuff makes you any money. Marketing is the only thing that you can actually consider an investment. Everything else is an actual expense. Okay, so now in the next video, I'm actually going to show you, I'm actually going to get into those 7 secrets, and I'm actually going to show you how to create a unique selling proposition so that you can stand out in the marketplace. Again, until next time, please remember, even as a doctor, if you're in business, then you're in marketing. And if you're not in marketing, then you're really not in business. But there's no need to climb the mountain of success by yourself when you can stand on the shoulders of giants. Make the right decision.